Hey there, I'm Ginger Rousey with Delta Farm Press, and today I'm with Dr. Larry Steckel, who is an extension weed specialist with the University of Tennessee. And Dr. Steckel, not a great story that we're talking about today, but as you can see behind us, we're in a cotton field ready to harvest, but huge pigweeds, a really big patch of pigweeds that have gone to seed. And you know, you said this farm has had multiple applications of dicamba and glyphosate. And it's something you're seeing on a lot of farms in West Tennessee. So what's going on?
So yeah, we really started seeing this last year in 2019, and it was kind of in about 3 counties here in West Tennessee that was really bad. You can find it in some other spots, and it was not unlike what you see here, where it was a pretty good sized spot. This is probably a good, when you look at all the patches, well over an acre out of this field. That probably just a few mother plants last year went to seed that had survived dicamba applications in this case. And so this year, those are the main population you're seeing here, and they're coming up. The farmer's not really aware of it. He's thinking dicamba's worked really well for me on my Palmer pigweed for you know, since it's come out. So he's spraying his Roundup and his dicamba, and then he's coming back 20-25 days later. He's thinking on his second application of Roundup and dicamba on the new flush of Palmer Amaranth. Well, to his horror, the first flush is still here. Yeah. And not only that, it's gotten its feet back under it. So, you know, about 10 days it doesn't really grow much, but after that it grows like a Palmer does again, this 2 to 3 inch a day stuff. Right. And so by 20-25 days, you got a Palmer Amaranth that's over 2 foot tall. So are you saying resistance here? Are we using that word yet? So yeah, I'm using the word resistance because what we've seen now multiple years in a row, but most notably what the winter research we did. So we did some at Jackson, the research station, and found that it was around 2 to 2.5x resistant. And then I sent some to my colleagues in some other states. I like to get somebody to verify it before I bring up anything like this. The most recent one was Dr. Peter Dotre over at Texas Tech. That was just a couple months ago. And just to kind of give you an idea, he was getting 100% control of his Palmer Amaranth from Lubbock, Texas, with like 11 ounces of XtendiMax. And that's a half-X rate. He needed over 44 ounces of XtendiMax, actually closer to 66 ounces of XtendiMax to get the same level of control on the Palmer Amaranth from this county. Wow. So it's the beginning stages of resistance, not unlike what we saw with Roundup back in 2006.
Are we seeing this also with 2,4-D?
So yeah, good point. So and the short answer is yes. Okay. We are at least what we're seeing in the field. And it's not, I guess, surprising, because the first known 2,4-D resistant Palmer Amaranth, which was first identified in Kansas here 3 years ago, was cross-resistant dicamba. And it really looks, if you go to the enlist fields in this county, after they've sprayed multiple applications of Roundup and enlist 1 or 2,4-D, they look a lot like multiple applications of Roundup and dicamba in this field.
Well, you know, this is obviously not good. No. And it goes without saying, but you know, thinking about the economics of this, having to deal with this when you're coming back in the spring, what's a farmer to do?
Well, this is your last shot to control it, because when it gets to this stage, when it's starting to talk, you know, a couple acres of a good sized field, next year that seed's going to be everywhere, and so you got to try and put your thumb on it as best you can this year, not only in this field but in all the rest of your fields, not spreading it around. So you know, cleaning equipment, hygiene there is very important, but on these really bad fields, you got to start thinking about next year's crop. And the first thing comes to my mind is corn. We've got a lot of great options still, thank God, for Palmer Amaranth and corn, so that'd be one good option. The economics, the way they are, though, here in West Tennessee, a lot of these farms are going to see this field will likely be cotton again. It's been cotton for a long time. So if that's the case, number one, don't ever let them come up. It's easy for me to say, it's hard to do, but use those pre-emergence herbicides and try and overlay them as best you can. When you do get some post, when you do have them break and you got to come back post, don't just assume that first Roundup dicamba shot's going to control them this year when it didn't last year. Don't wait 20-25 days after that first application. Shorten up that interval. Try and get out there within at least 7 to 10 days, ideally with an application of Liberty or another application of dicamba, and try and stomp them before they get their feet back under them.
Well, good information from you, and I'm sure we'll have more from you as we move through the winter with all the dicamba 2,4-D news that's coming up. Thank you for watching, and we'll have more with Dr. Steckel in one of our print issues of Delta Farm Press.